I do not like mosquitoes. In fact, I'm allergic to them.
Yes. I have a son, Max, who's also allergic to mosquitoes.
The white, like, welts.
Yep.
And they puff up huge.
Yep.
Some people have it, and boy, did my parents pick the wrong state to live in for a boy who is allergic to mosquitoes. But if you hate mosquitoes, if you're allergic to them, there is a remedy, and it's a company called Mosquito Next.
Yep, I have a system in my house, and I don't have to worry about going into my backyard at dusk, especially like right now where it's kind of cool outside when the sun goes down. But that's when the mosquitoes come out.
I love it.
But not at my house, because around my whole fence, the perimeter of my whole yard, there's these misters. And there's a Mosquito Next misting system that mist the backyard during peak mosquito times, and it keeps them out of there. After a certain amount of time, it forms a barrier. I have no mosquitoes anywhere near my house.
Yeah, it degrades and breaks down really, really rapidly.
Oh, yeah, the chemical,
The little
organic.
lines that they use, you can't even see them.
No,
It's like microscopic little fine lines in order to disperse it. I have a portable system because I don't have a yard. I have a balcony.
Yep.
And it's perfect. Go out there. I'm starting the grill. I don't want to swat mosquitoes. My daughter wants to go out there and hang with me. I put the little mister on there.
Great.
Done.
Also, another thing the Mosquito Next does, because it's about to be winter soon, and during winter we have less of a mosquito problem, so they switch over to their Christmas light program, and they have all their installers. They'll install Christmas lights for you. They've done it for my house, Daniel's house, 2 years in a row. It's so much more convenient.
It's the best.
They store them for you.
They gave me like a Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade-sized wreath. Did you see my wreath?
Yeah.
It was huge. During the summer, they're killing things, and during the winter, they're making smiles.
Absolutely. And if you do it early, too, there's even a discount. So if you give them a call, go to mosquitonext.com.
Oh, the best part, they set it all up, then they take it all down, they put it in bins, so if you continue to use them, like Tom and I
use the same ones,
they just use the same one. So if you get it dialed in, because guys, we all know how our wives get particular about the way they like things. Well, I'm going to get that same wreath again because they marked it, they organized my stuff, they took it away, they bring it, they take it away. It's awesome.
So much easier. Just have them do it.
It's amazing.
It's mosquitonext.com.
In the boy, the larynx and the vocal cords change so that his voice acquires the deeper pitch of a man's voice. The shoulders become broader, thighs grow longer, and the muscles become stronger. Hair begins to grow on the face, under the arms, and in the pubic area.
You are a man. And in taking on the role of the world's
second
greatest gender, you must adhere to a gentleman's guide to manliness.
It is another Gentleman's Guide to Manliness. Dan Dennis.
Tom Van.
Steve Kramer.
Boom! Steve's got his sexy voice on. Hey, great job this weekend.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I could not hear. So you're talking, of course, about the 10th anniversary.
Yeah, we did our big
giant party.
10th anniversry party downtown. And
How many people were there? It had to be like two grand, right?
It seemed like it.
I would like to think that. I mean,
I have no. I can't.
You couldn't. I couldn't even see there as far back as there were people.
It's like radio ratings. There's really no way of knowing.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's hard to. Also, when you look at a group of people on like Wall Street, I can't really like gauge numbers. You know, it's like counting gumballs in a jar or whatever.
Unless you have like a little thing that people go through, like at Disney, the little
like a turnstile.
Yeah, the turnstile that counts them. And you got a clicker right there.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
I mean, you could kind of look at groups. You're like, okay, there's like 25 in this group. So then you're like, do.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the homeless guy that I got in a fight with.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Was it a knife fight?
No, but like. Okay, now be honest, and I can take it.
Yeah.
Was I being rude?
No.
He caught me. He did catch me at a bad time.
Well, yeah. Okay.
So you were a little.
No.
You weren't at your friendliest.
I really try to be friendly, even if I'm spicy.
Really?
Like, it's not his fault, and I don't want him to be homeless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what? Who wants that? No one wants that.
Don't get mad at the person for not giving you money if they say, we don't have cash on me. So this is what happened. Like, we're standing there. We're there with Orlando Bands and Ben, who's a great guy, and we just...
And his team, who...
Yeah.
I mean, I can't... Orlando Bands, Ben Gardner... cannot love him more.
So we just found out that our slideshow and everything we formatted for the event
that we've been working on for weeks.
Yeah, it was all on Mac.
I've been watching that.
Yeah, you watch it. It was all on Mac, and Ben has Windows.
Oh, great.
So he was like, this isn't compatible. So we're literally finding this out at this time, and then we're trying to work out, like, Butler going to get a adapter at Best Buy, you know, the 0 hour.
Yeah, that's how it always goes.
Yeah, this is at 5:50 15. So this, what I think is a homeless guy, you don't know.
He was. He had a bike and his gear with him for homelessing.
Yeah, he says. So he comes up. He's like. Now we're all engaged into a serious conversation, right? And then there's like a barrier, and then he was on the other side of the barrier, near what I like to call
18, 19 years old, clean shaven.
Bum Park. No, this guy was probably in his 40s, maybe.
Did he 40s but looked like 60s?
No. He looked very young, I thought.
Yeah, and
so maybe not that long on the street.
So maybe not. He said he was from Texas. So this is what happened. He comes up, he's like, excuse me. And then we're all like in the middle of a conversation, like not heated, but like stressed.
They always do that. They always come running up to you. And I'm not saying this to be mean, but homeless people, when they interrupt your conversation, they come up as if they're the patron at Joann Fabrics that only needs to know like what aisle Puff Paint is on, but they're going to bully and butt into your conversation no matter what.
That happened to me once. I was on the phone finding out about my uncle dying from cancer.
Oh my God.
I'm in my car and a guy knocks on the window.
Oh, yeah.
I just hate I mean, like, even if you were like, just wait their patient, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even if you just waited their patient.
It's a better position to solicit.
I know what I would do is I would sit there, hands folded, and wait there patiently until I thought they were done, because they're going to know that you're listening.
And then you're like,
and then you go, I'm so sorry. And then you go into what you're saying.
That's right.
No, he was like, excuse me.
You have a better likelihood of getting a positive result.
I'd be a good homeless guy.
So he's like, excuse me. And we're like, yes. And then he's like, do you guys have any dollars I could have or whatever? And we're like, I'm sorry, man.
Where was he trying to get? He was trying to get somewhere.
He was trying to get a bus ticket or something. Like he was from Texas.
He wanted a bus ticket.
So that's what was the story. He's like, I'm from Texas, Galveston or something. And then he's like, can I get we were nice. We were like, I'm sorry, we don't have any cash on us. Or, whatever.
Yeah, I said,
here's my square.
No.
No, we didn't do that.
So then we went back to talking because we were trying to finish this. And so then I see him there because like Daniel is back towards him, and then Ben's sideways, and I'm looking at him like at the corner of my eye, and he's just standing there. And then I see him like he starts to walk away, and then he comes back, and I see him like frustrated or whatever.
Yeah, he got mad.
And then he's getting more and more mad. I see it. And I'm like, well, what is this guy gonna do? And then he's like, where I'm from, this doesn't happen in Texas. And he's like,
people carry cash in Texas.
Yeah, he's like, people carry cash in Texas, and then we're like, okay.
I think I said, and I wasn't trying to be a dick, but I was like, man, really? Because I said, I don't know of anybody around here that carries cash. And I looked at everybody. I was like, do you guys have any cash? I mean, like, look, man, we're not lying to you.
Yeah.
Like, if I had $1 on me, like, available, I would definitely give it to you for two reasons. One, because I don't want you to starve. Two, to get you the hell out of here. Like, there is some good and bad there.
And so then he says, and we're like, okay. Like,
then it took a serious.
And then it gets more mad.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he's like, if I was
in the army.
He's like, I was in the army. If I knew there was people like you in this country, I would have put my M16 down and, basically saying he wouldn't have fought for the country. It's basically
because you're not carrying cash.
They were unpatriotic, bad Americans because we're not giving you money.
That Tom, who is, and I claim this even though he does not take my love, the funniest person I know, he replies, well, if you're on the battlefield, that's the worst place to put your gun. Oh, my God. You kind of said it under your breath. You didn't want to be mean to the guy. You weren't going to be mean to the guy, but I thought that was really funny. You're standing there in the middle of bullet fire.
You're going to die because some Americans don't want to give bums their hard-earned money?
Actually, no, it would be you want to die because some Americans, citizens in Florida, don't carry cash.
No, exactly.
I don't understand.
But really, it's because he didn't believe you.
I think
I had 20s in my wallet.
Why didn't you give him a 20?
I'm not going to give him a 20.
Why not?
Because they do.
That's a whole night of fun.
Why not? Then you give him the 20, and then you're excused for the next 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, screw this guy.
You get 20 or 19 bum passes after that.
No,
that's right.
He was an a-hole, and
he was an a-hole,
and he doesn't deserve. Okay.
I think he wanted to fight me for some reason. I'm like, wow, man, that's an aggressive take.
Listen, if you're in a position in life and you have to beg for money, that's I feel sad for you. I feel bad. But if you do beg for money and someone says I don't have money or doesn't want to give it to you, you then being aggressive towards them, screw you. Get the hell out of here. here. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not how it works.
And I always,
you can't beg for money, and then if you don't get it, then you're mad at the person, or you don't give me you should give me money.
Is
like,
this the?
you.
Oh, well, you sound like a real good conservative man.
No. I'm just saying, like, does anybody out there feel like, oh, you should always give everybody money that asks for it?
No.
Like
no,
there's
in
no
fact,
way to
usually
live.
I've done that on many occasions. Somebody outside of like a Chick-fil-A or a Starbucks or whatever
If you
say,
feel like
I
it.
want to get some money. I'm trying to get some food, and I'll go get them food and be like, what do you want? And I'll order it and give them that.
If I feel like if someone says, "Can you give me money for
because
drugs?"
at least I know that it's for the purpose that they're asking for.
Here's
They're getting what they want.
I'll go once. I don't even care what it's for. If you told me straight up you want drugs, I'm happy to give you money for drugs. It doesn't matter what you. In fact, I 100% believe every dollar I've ever given or more money, something I give a 5 spot if I have, like if I'm feeling generous that day. But I assume everybody's buying alcohol or drugs. I don't care about that. I'm just saying, don't get mad if I don't give it to you. Just go on about your day.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Well, I think about it this way. Sure, that person is going to get money later on to buy alcohol or drugs, but they need to eat too, and this will make sure they eat, and then the other money that they get, if they're going to do that, they can do
even
that.
when I've given, but when I give money, and maybe I'm different, like, and you and I've talked about this before, like, if I give money to a bum, you can spend it on whatever the F you want. I almost cursed.
I'd rather it be drugs.
If you want to go drugs, if you want to go 40s,
drugs are way better than
because I'm choosing to
food.
give the money. I'm not going to make you do whatever you got to do with it.
Point of order here. Just
Bummer.
Oh my God, he's here! He's here!
But you got the same thing on your phone.
Oh God, he's got it. Put it down. You
It's
said
an
you
Amber
put it
Alert.
down.
It goes on everybody's
said
phone.
You put the M16 down, and you did.
Yeah. Anybody listening live is getting the same alert.
Tell me if this is this wrong to say to him, because I always do this, and it might be a bad habit, or it might be me being overly polite when I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry, I don't have any money," and they'll be like, "Okay," and I'll be like, "But hey, good luck."
Yeah.
Is it okay to say good luck, or is that a little? Am I throwing shade? I'm not throwing shade.
It could sound sarcastic.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop saying that because I don't mean it sarcastically.
I wonder, so we're in the era of woke cancel culture, all that. Is there is bum an inappropriate term now in that cancel culture?
Yeah.
Is it like an unhoused individual?
Yeah.
Or what is
Homeless
the proper
person.
It's
I don't care.
We're live on Twitch right now,
Yeah.
twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. I think Juan kind of hit the nail on the head. The guy probably had some sort of mental illness,
Yeah.
And
well, that's
like
common
Juan
among
said,
the homeless population.
We're trying to rationalize what a person who obviously has some struggles is thinking.
Listen,
So.
I'm sensitive to people with mental illness, and but I don't know that
Absolutely,
for sure.
which is why, frankly, if you really want to give the greatest impact, there's good organizations that help out people that are homeless, some really good ones, and there's some good organizations that help on the feeding, on the housing, on the getting employment, and on the drug and alcohol recovery. And then there's some good organizations that also deal with the mental health too.
Yeah, listen, he could have mental illness.
But money's best spent there.
Or he could just be a D-head. And
That's true.
I don't know.
That's true.
Like I said, I've only...
No, you've got that interaction to base your judgment upon.
Yeah.
And it could be both. Could
be both.
It
can be both.
It didn't come off like mental
They're not
illness.
mutually exclusive.
He could be a mental D.
It came off like D-head, where it's like, okay, you interrupted our conversation, fine. You asked for money, we said we didn't have any, and then to start, telling us...
and he didn't look mental.
We're a-holes.
He didn't look like he was struggling. He stood up straight. He wasn't shaking or doing like weird. He wasn't hunched over. No dog with goggles. Clean
eyes.
Eyes were clear.
Yeah.
He wasn't wearing like tattered clothes.
Not scruffy at all. Clean shaven. Looked good.
He was clean shaven.
Yeah, it was clean shaven.
Well, anyway, so
he looked like a normal guy.
That's before the 10th anniversary, and then of course the big party, and then you guys.
Then you played.
You guys had me play. So I played.
Crowd loved it.
I was debating. I was like, do I go for the cool
No, you
thing,
picked the right
or do
one.
I go for the sing-along?
You picked
because
the
I was
right
like,
one.
I could do a Pixie song, a Radiohead song. That'll be cool because it'll be like a song that's not on piano, that I'm doing at piano. And great songs. I could do it well.
Police. And then people will be like, oh, God. No, you picked right. You picked right.
Anyway, so I did Sweet Caroline. That was great. It was a great sing-along.
Oh, they
were all singing.
All about it.
That was the little bit of alcohol goes a
I
long
think
way
you
for
got
singing.
more people singing during that than we did at Hard Rock.
It was drunk or crowd, right?
Yeah, drunker crowd.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Although, here's the only thing. I don't know how it actually sounded because I could not hear
Sounded
a
good.
damn thing. Like, I couldn't hear what I was playing, and I could not hear what I was singing.
Well, I was over on the side fills a little. Well, they're small, but you sounded good. I thought
So
it sounded really good.
I was relying on my on my inner pitch or whatever, and I don't have perfect pitch. I mean, very few people do. You're like born with it
I
or
don't.
not.
I have relative.
Mine is relative, so it makes me feel good. Like,
Yeah, it was good. dude.
Yeah, everybody
It was
liked
fun.
it. So not to get too in the weeds, you, Tom, had a legal question for Steven.
Yes.
And you only get a few of these.
Well, that was fun, by the way. So thank you guys.
Thank you for being
involving
a part of
me
it,
as
man.
always.
It was super awesome.
Okay, we talked about it this
I
week.
was so stressed leading up to that.
Oh my God, we all were.
And I found this weird, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I wanted to ask you legally what the ramifications are or like how this works. So I don't know if you saw this, but Jay Gruden got let go of the Washington Redskins on Monday. Kind of in the sports world, everybody assumed that was going to happen. They
Has there
played
been
real
any
bad.
more news?
No. I mean,
been awfully
basically
quiet,
done, yeah.
right?
Well, he made a comment even before the game. He's like, if my key card still works on Monday, I'll continue to coach. He
Wow.
knew. He already knew. But
It's a funny way of putting it.
so Daniel, apparently on Friday, these pictures were re-released of a couple years ago of Jay Gruden at some restaurant, and it looked like he was smoking a joint. He was smoking a
I heard you talking
cigarette
about this on a corporate time.
a tiny hand-rolled cigarette. It could have been marijuana, could be a cigarette. Who knows? But it was a couple years ago, and so there's the pictures. So it told me that this is bad for Jay after, especially of New England. Anyway. And this website that Daniel was reading, it theorized that the organization, the Redskins organization, re-released these pictures or were holding on to these pictures and released them so that they could somehow not pay. Now, I'm not sure if we have any information about what's going on business-wise with this contract or all that stuff. But
I've been looking to see if they're going to pop up anything. The article that I read, and it was from an extremely reputable source, was basically saying that the Redskins have a history of when somebody is let go or fired,
Poisoning the well.
They immediately want to some sort of character assassinate the person that is no longer.
yeah,
It's cover, right?
It is.
So they don't look as bad or whatever?
Well said. Yeah, it's like.
But I mean, I don't even know with the start that they had and the issues they had.
That they needed that.
It's not necessary, but maybe that's and look, here's examples of how he was not committed and serious about being a coach and acting like a professional. And I think
Which
we were
is
talking about
stupid.
this. You're a public figure. I'm acutely aware of. And I think of what it's like to be a public figure. Anybody that's in that position, they need to be aware that people, their eyes on them. We're in the age of digital media, of social
everybody's
media,
got a phone,
and everybody's got a phone.
Here's the quote, and this is from the New York Post. So, I mean, pretty big, right?
Yeah,
I mean, not
absolutely.
necessarily. It's not like I'm dealing with, Billy Sports
Some
Beat,
rag, yeah.
In the days before the game, a tape was conveniently leaked, and there's a whole nother article that I can go to, and I will about that, of a man believed to be Gruden, which is hilarious because it's him, smoking an unknown substance and talking with women. The Action Network, Daryl Rovin, reported that the team could use that video to argue that they fired Gruden for breach of contract. It's unclear if Snyder will opt to pursue that option. Gruden signed an extension in 2017, and his contract ran through next season. So, yes, there is still money on the table.
So that is
my
probably
theory.
a part of it. And we've seen that on a number of occasions where there's been allegations of alcohol abuse that happened in college football on a number of occasions when coaches have been released. And then there's a dispute about, well, you released me, but you still owe me the money due under the contract. And basically the team will... they're waging a two-front war. One of them is what they do in the courtroom, and the other is the spin in the public
media,
perception.
yeah.
And that spin is also designed to impact the court case, which is not really the way it's supposed to work. But so they're kind of you might be seeing the setup for what will be a court case, or maybe what will play out even before it gets to a court case, because there's probably some alternative dispute resolution stuff where they've got to get together and maybe mediate or arbitrate before they go to court, or maybe they'll opt to do that even if it's not required.
So this is my question. So say Daniel's, I'm the owner of the team, right? Daniel's my coach,
All right.
and then
Coach Daniel.
So I have.
Wait, he owns the team.
Like,
He's doing way better than you,
Yeah,
Daniel.
yeah, but the coach is cooler.
Yeah, but he can
The
hire and
owner,
fire you.
I mean-
I'm just a racist old man.
Yeah.
That's
we
more
got,
the part I'd like to
Tommy
play.
Jones over here, and I'm what's the guy?
Like Coach Dennis.
Oh no, who's the
Jay
guy?
Gruden.
What's he do? The guy, the Cowboys coach. We always make fun of him.
Oh, the Jason Garrett.
Yeah, Mr. Clapp.
Yeah, the clapper.
the
Yeah, yeah.
clapper.
So-
Little Danny claps a
So
lot.
little Danny Clapper. So okay, my question to you, Steve, is okay. Say I have a video of Danny
no.
Clapper smoking weed, but it's a couple years ago, right? And I have it. It hasn't been released, right? So I'm holding it because I don't know how.
Because that's what I read in the other stories, that they already had this and they were holding on.
So technically, the video itself, I could already fire him for breach of contract because
you already got dirt on me.
It's already got dirt, but I'm not yet because I want to see how he's doing at his job first, right?
That's really scary.
So then he ends up doing bad at his job, and I'm like going to fire him, but then I have this video that I could also release that helps me not pay him his contract, because this video shows that in his contract he signed, it's like unbecoming of the organization's the morals or whatever it is.
I mean, whatever it is, there's money on the table and you can use it to save money.
So my question is, because I've already seen the video, and if you could prove somehow that I already had this video years ago, could you say that the organization, like, all right, if you didn't fire him 2 years ago, you can't use this as evidence now? Or
it's a great question.
Well, it could be an example. What would be the counter argument is, no, this is the first example in a course of conduct that continued over time, and while no particular instance would constitute a material breach of the agreement, in totality, along with job performance, we were justified in terminating him.
Okay, so it doesn't matter that I knew about the video years ago.
Well, there could be, if nothing ever happened after that, he could take a position. Look, we talked about this. I cured the issue. I cured what might have been a breach, and you guys continued doing business. And, depending on the timing, you also signed an extension.
Could a judge,
so you did that after you knew that this is not relevant. That was already.
Could a judge go either way? Is that judge's discretion at that point?
Well, I mean, I think it would depend on the facts and the way they were presented in court.
Gotcha.
And what happens in the public, really and gets released in social media or through news and newspapers really should have very little impact as to what happens in the courtroom.
When you can see both sides like this, when you have, let's say, the Redskins, who quite possibly could have had the video early, and then you've got Jay Gruden, who could quite possibly on the other side say, well, you had it beforehand, you didn't do anything. Yeah. How much of that is now in the hands of either side's legal counsel? Is it all?
Absolutely.
Is it all 100%? And because at that point, it sounds as even as I can think of, because I can see both sides, right? Yeah. I can see it. So then it becomes like who you hired and how they're going to present the case.
And
right?
if you've got a really good attorney on a high-profile case like that, they're savvy enough to know that there is the case that's in the courtroom, there is the case, there's the social side, and there's the political side, and not every case has all of those elements, but many high-profile cases do, and they all matter. And of course, what matters most can really depend on the circumstances.
And there's no way, because they can't ever prove that whatever he was smoking was marijuana, and it could be a rolled cigarette.
Well, they might be able to prove it. They could bring in the person that's with him and say, what were you smoking that night? They could take previous statements that he had and where he verified that he was smoking marijuana. They could go ahead and subpoena phone records and show that he purchased marijuana right before that incident. There's lots of ways to prove those facts.
I have no idea if they're even going to try to screw him with it or anything, or try to not pay him out of his contract.
I mean, he kind of acknowledged that he anticipated it happening. that probably doesn't bode well for his
job performance, not on smoking weed with girls.
Well, and I wonder what his contract. It it may not require him to be paid if he didn't deliver on the job performance. I just don't know his contract.
I think it is. I think contractually, there's from what I read, I could be getting this all wrong. There's $5 million still left because he signed that extension in 2017. He's got one more year, and he would have been
guaranteed pay.
Get another guaranteed $5.
Okay, that could be
$4 to $5 mil,
and then that could be a way for them to get out of it.
Well, the issue is we don't really know. I mean, we're kind of guessing because you'd have to see that contract. And with coaches, I don't believe with the players, we have a lot more predictability as to what's going to happen and how it's going to play out because they have a CBA. They have a collective bargaining agreement, and they're all kind of governed by that. With coaches, I don't know that they have the same type of setup
because they're not in play. The players,
they're not. I don't think they're part of the CBA.
No.
Yeah.
And
so they may have individual agreements, and it would depend highly on the specifics of that individual agreement.
I guess long question short is if a company knows about something, can they hold on to it until they want to fire you for it, or do they?
That's what wives do, right?
Yeah. They hold it over your head.
Yeah, that's kind of their style, right?
Yeah, that happens. The husbands too.
I mean, husbands do it too, but wives...
That's actually one of the things that is key to maintaining a long-term relationship and not getting a divorce is letting things go.
Oh, yeah.
But if you can't do that, that does not bode well.
No.
It's one of the keys to a successful marriage.
I just wondered legally, if a company knew about something years ago and didn't act, can they then act like when they wanted to, using something they already knew?
What we're talking about is something that is different from everybody else that's listening. We're talking about professional football. That is a completely different world than people that and entertainment. That's another different world than people at their everyday jobs. The reality is, like in Florida, for most people here, you could be fired at will for any reason whatsoever, as long as it doesn't violate an anti-discrimination law.
Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't matter what it is.
Doesn't matter why.
Yeah.
You could have done anything, and they don't even need. And an employer doesn't even need to justify it.
Other states, though, they have.
It depends on the state. Everybody's got their own set of laws and rules.
Do you know
we have a right to work state,
or at least the what's the exact opposite of what we are?
Oh, that would be like Australia. I went to business school with a guy, with several people from Australia, and that own different businesses, and to fire somebody there.
Difficult.
It is a long and drawn out process, which means they don't hire people. It causes a lot of stagnation in economic growth in their economy, frankly. So there's probably
I never knew that.
There's probably better examples of more balance.
Yeah. It's kind of like...
I'd like to fire you right now for pooping on my desk, but I can't do it. So, poop away.
Same way in Belgium. I had when I was in business school, I also had some guys from Belgium, and they had like 6 or 8 weeks of paid vacation. This is going back like 10 years, so I'm trying to remember, but they had like 6 or 8 weeks of paid vacation in every type of job. And to fire people, it was really, really difficult. As I recall. But I think Australia, they were all in arguments about where it was hardest, and I think the Australians won that argument.
They won that one.
Yeah.
Let's take a little break.
Yeah.
I have some. We can go many different directions wherever you guys want to go. We'll take a little break and come back with more A Gentleman's Guide right after this. A Mediocre Time, a Corporate Time with Tom and Dan, BDM members, all of our guys know there's one thing that we strive to let you guys know about anybody that advertises with our company is if you let them know that you listen, you're a member, that you're involved with us, they're going to treat you better, point blank, period.
Exactly, and that's what everybody wants, that VIP experience, that extra little attention that you get when they know, our advertisers know that you're a Tom and Dan
listener. It takes
listener.
the awkwardness away, and you get right to business, and normally with really wonderful people.
And that's what you'll get at Blanchard Insurance. It's BlanchardInsurance.com, 407-788-8640. They got offices in Altamont Springs, Daytona, Land O'Lakes, St. Pete. They're getting more. They're going to give you that VIP experience. First, they're going to give you the best rate. And how many of you guys know your insurance agent? How many of you guys know that the policy that you bought for your house, your vehicles, your boat, whatever, covers everything you need it to cover? Blanchard Insurance is going to make sure that all the policies you get through them are going to fit your needs and fit your needs specifically, and you're going to have an agent there that you can call personally at any time 24/7. So that's why you use Blanchard Insurance. That's why Tom and Dan, T&D Media, is going to use Blanchard Insurance from now on.
This is what we say. Like, you guys are part of our family, and we're happy to bring Blanchard into the family, and now they're going to treat you like family.
BlanchardInsurance.com. Welcome back to A Gentleman's Guide. Tom Van.
Dan Dennis.
Steve Kramer.
Okay, which direction you guys want to go in? We got voicemails. I've got the strange origin of
Diagonally upright.
He's doing it to you.
Well, I didn't.
You said which direction?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't. See, I'm immune to it. I think.
Really, I thought about. Had that saying that in motion before you actually said things.
Wow, you had that zinger already loaded. The old bop gun.
I couldn't stop it. You ever have that? Even after you realize, man, that's dumb.
Joke that's
I shouldn't
so funny,
say that. It's not that funny.
Upright that I'm gonna. Watch this.
No.
I'm a humor
What I'm saying
sniper.
is, you got something that maybe isn't that funny,
I'm gonna
and
blow
you
your
want to
funny
pull it
bone
back,
off.
but it's already chambered and fired before you can pull it back.
No. If I know it's not funny, I just don't say it.
Right, well, I'm glad that you have a filter.
Well, it's just part of my job.
That's great.
I think we can all agree that what you said was stupid.
You're so much better at self-control and self-discipline than me.
Number one thing, if I don't think it's funny, don't say it. There's one rule. And then there's some other ones, but that's really the most important.
Good.
So where do you guys want to go? Do you want to do? I have the strange.
Let's go up, right, and to the left.
Hey, if you're gonna stick with it, I admire that. I admire.
It's funnier
that.
the second time.
It is funny.
Comedy's in threes, though, right?
But you really lose this third time. Fourth,
right, and to the
fourth
left.
time we ask you to leave the studio. Fifth time we're funny again.
Sixth time I take your shoes off. I throw them on the wire.
Why you need shoes today? You're not wearing shoes, are you?
Well,
No,
I took them off.
That's his new thing. When he wants to get comfortable, he takes his shoes off. It's not gross. I mean, it's we each have our process. He likes to get his nipples hard and take his shoes off.
That's exactly right. Your nipples are wearing a hole through your shirt today.
For the listeners' benefit, Tom is wearing, I believe, and boy, this is when you know that.
By the way, that's not funny. Your nipples cutting through your shirt there.
It's pretty funny.
Actually, it is.
Yeah, that's a sample shirt that I believe we were sent from Enemy Inc. because we are going to do a Mediocre Time with Tom and Dan polos.
Rule number 2, turn off your phone. I remember
Even
that.
your phone can't shut off.
Rule number 1, don't say things without funny.
Your phone was like, this ding will be hilarious. Tom's like, it's not funny yet, phone. But Tom, that is it is a little sad. I don't like continuously, I always feel like some days you wake up and then you're like, I have to make Daniel make fun of me. And you start doing some stuff.
And then put on a nipple shirt.
That's a sample shirt from Enemy. I don't even think you're supposed to wear that. It's kind of embarrassing.
What is the fabric?
I believe that is.
It's that
it's like a sporty style,
it's that that polyester.
Yeah,
it's kind of like shiny, super shiny. So you're wearing a super shiny polyester shirt with your nipples pulling through.
Let me describe
pulling underneath your armpits.
I'll describe Tom's shirt. It's a silver shiny, plastic polo that says New Year's 2010 on it. What is that? Hologram? Blinky hologram?
It's like what an overweight, aging high school football coach would wear.
How dare you?
That was actually pretty good.
That's
pretty accurate.
It was a sample shirt they sent us, which is it would be the same if it had our logo. It's the same thing, but it doesn't.
And then you got your shorts on, your pink shorts that show your junk on.
Yeah.
Hanging out.
You got a lot of genital action today.
The material affects my nips.
Why?
I have no idea. I think.
Do you know anything about that, Steven? I
No.
mean, your nipples seem to be
doing fine. They're not. They're not
down. Are mine down?
No, yours I find is more of a
self-control, self-discipline.
Sometimes mine get pointy.
This is whatever.
I can see your the bumps on your areolas, though. It's very graphic.
Also, the shirt's one size too small, probably.
I think it fits you. I just think the cut is a little weird.
It's like pulling under your armpits in a way that it doesn't
he's buff.
No, I need a large. I'm wearing a medium.
That's a medium?
Yeah.
Wow, good for you.
It was Travis's.
Even if
my wife is at laundry day.
Even if
she skipped it.
Even if you're ripped, you can still get a shirt that fits.
Because all my other extra larges now are all tinty.
Yeah, I'm getting
because you've lost weight, so now you need a fitted shirt. You need one that's bigger, but that comes in and isn't designed for people that are overweight.
My large T-shirts now, even the event shirt that I wore on stage, I just came out of the package, I put it on. It was too long. I looked like I was wearing a tall tee.
Because when you had more weight, it pushed it out and shortens it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, can't do that.
These are good problems.
It is.
You can find fitted shirts, that have an athletic fit or sport fit.
I know.
Suits are like that too, by the way. If you are lean and you're buying suits, it could be tough because suits are designed for men that are not necessarily lean, average man. So it's off the shelf. So
let's do a couple of voicemails because we don't do these. You guys have been neglecting these. I have one email I'm going to read here in a minute too.
What's up, Gentleman's Guide? On the last episode, Tom was talking about how if everything was too perfect, how would that be and how there's no utopia. That's actually an episode of The Twilight Zone, way back in the day, where this lifelong criminal dies, and he wakes up and he has this angel next to him, and the angel said, hey, welcome to the afterlife. I can get you anything you want. And this guy was like, anything? So he would set up a casino, but he would win every time, which was great at first, except he would then start being unhappy because he knew he was going to win all the time. And then when he told, the angel, hey, I want to not win all the time, it wasn't fun because he knew that at some point he was going to win. He would set up bank robberies where he knew he would get away with it, but without the thrill of the unknown or the thrill of knowing that it could go bad, he just wasn't happy. So he goes, I'm so unhappy. How can I be in heaven and be so unhappy? And the angel says, who said you were in heaven? Boom, plot twist, he's a demon, and whoa, he's in hell. All right. Anyway, proved your point.
Yeah.
Bye.
Kudos to that guy for actually putting some time and effort and energy into his voicemail.
Yes,
like he was doing voices.
That was a pretty good plot
It was
summary.
very succinct, right?
Yeah.
Like he did a good job.
Although, if
I love Twilight Zone.
If I were religious...
Underrated, I think. Like it's blown up because it's iconic, but people don't think to revisit it. And when I do, I enjoy it.
Oh, I do too.
I think it's underrated.
I'd rather have the always win at gambling free bank robbery hell than the boiling and hot lava hell. It's,
well, I mean, if
I understand, it's like this isn't fun. All right, that's
the idea is hell is personal for everybody, and but that guy's basically
burning in hot lava seems way
not
worse
good.
than
That's not good.
But that's like that
and you
guy's
don't really burn. It's like an eternal burn.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you hit the lava and and then you're dead. It's more like you're bobbing around, you're bumping into Hitler, you're bumping into Mussolini.
You're grabbing.
That's like Osama bin Laden's turban hit you in the head. You're like, I'm floating in the lava.
If it's just I'm bored at the casino, I win all the time. Like I'll take that hell.
And wouldn't eventually you get bored of boiling in lava?
That's
because
like
you would get done, and then eventually you'd get desensitized to floating in the lava with all the different other evil people of the world, and then it'd become your norm. And then you'd be like, good morning, Hitler, and you'd be floating in the lava.
Then you got to switch it up. But it's like, it's personal, right? So, like Prometheus, he's chained to a rock, and the eagle pecks out his liver every day, and then it heals. Or Sisyphus has to push that's the one that has to push the rock up the hill. Yeah.
So, but
that guy's talking about that Kierkegaard idea that I say is that when you have nothing to lack, eventually, you're unhappy about having no lacks.
It seems to me.
I ain't got no lacks. Lacks are a thing you can't.
It's the same concept as if you won Powerball or whatever. That's why I'm not sure that having unlimited money really. I mean, the cliche is that money doesn't buy happiness, but I think every poor person and to me believe that that's not entirely true. But what I think is true is that if you had unlimited money, that the allure and the excitement of that would wear off super quick, and it would become ultimately depressing.
Well, you'd have to ration it out. Like I've always had a plan in my mind. If I won Powerball, and let's say I had $100 million, that I would have to put the $100 million in the bank and then still live my life, but then just know. Like, I think it would lower my anxiety knowing that all my bills would be paid.
You have independence and security.
But I would have to do that in order to not lose the allure of, I'd have to
having money itself is not fulfilling. I mean, that is, achieving goals or
earning money is fulfilling.
Taking responsibility.
Earning
that
money is fulfilling, for sure.
Or having meaningful connections and relationships, that's fulfilling. Money can certainly make things easier and give people independence.
Because I imagine myself like, what would make me ultimately happy? Like my dream house would be living on the ocean in a mansion and then having like the intercoastal on the back of my house that were the boats that I could
you've basically got like that mile between the intercoastal and the ocean, and a house that spans the entire distance.
They have like houses and
sometimes
mansions.
it's narrower than that, though.
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah,
like a few blocks.
They have houses where your front of your house is on the beach, and the back of your house
like
is
at
on
the end of the island.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Super. But I imagine like if you had unlimited money, you buy that stuff, you buy the boat, it takes you a while to buy all the stuff, and then there probably is a time where you're sitting in this mansion when you got everything you always dreamed you wanted, and then you're like, I'm not that happy.
Yeah, because you don't have a purpose.
And then
you can still be a nihilist and be rich.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of people that are wealthy that are unhappy.
That must be a crushing feeling to have everything you always dreamed of, and then realize you're not.
That's King Midas.
Yeah. And so that seems
the
like
Muffler King.
Because even the thought that if you did eventually get there, that it would be like all your everything you always hope for, like that is better than having it and then realizing it's not everything.
Actually, what happens...
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sometimes to me, the idea of going on vacation is more important than the actual
vacation.
That's right.
Yes,
it's the seeking something, the striving for something is where people get the fulfillment. Once they get it, I don't know if you've ever had that. You've got something you're working towards, and then afterwards, a lot of people feel like kind of a mini depression.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that with like
before sex, I get so worked up, and then during sex, I'm like...
Yeah.
No, I don't have that.
This is hard. This feels a lot bigger than I remember.
It's like anything. It's like even this business. Like our dream was to build a podcasting business. We did it, and then you're kind of like, well, this is kind of hard every day.
When I walk in the morning, I get nauseous.
You're like,
I'm like, this place sucks.
Well, it's hard. It's like, but the idea, and then it doesn't mean that it's not fulfilling and it's not great. It just means that in your mind of what you thought it was. I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Like even with, I bet it's
that's why utopia never works, is because there's no such thing as utopia. It couldn't be achieved.
I bet it's like that with people too. Like,
what about Fruitopia?
Now that's delicious, right?
That's not around anymore, is it? Fruitopia.
Like, I bet you, even like the people that have always like fantasized, like even with like sex with like a beautiful woman, like you fantasize about it, and then you do it. It probably isn't that good as far. It probably isn't as good.
It can be bonier sometimes.
It's not as good as your fantasy.
Yeah.
Probably to the most part, I
think the fuller figured ladies are going to feel better. That's just a fact. That's just science.
It's all good.
No, it's not all good.
For you guys,
it's not. There's some bad.
Has there ever
real bad?
Just don't go down that path. That's easy.
Always go down the path. Go down every path.
Has there ever been anything that you have dreamed about and got, and it wasn't as good as what you dreamt about?
Absolutely.
What?
Cars. Maserati. I mean, I went from like beater, cars that had to Hotwire, cars that exploded on the road while I was driving. Worked my way up to like better car. Got to like supercar, and was like, this is cool. This is cool,
but it's not. It's
just
right.
a car.
I like that. I like that you admitted that because it's true. But I feel like it gives everybody hope.
Was it good for a little bit at least?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was.
That's what I want. I want at least a week of awesome.
It was pretty awesome.
Well, everything's awesome for a week,
Not everything.
But eventually, if you
get used to it.
Nice cars, eventually you're like, it's a nice car.
It's like,
it's definitely not as exciting as the first time you get a nice car.
My Uncle Randy, the age-old joke, show me the hottest woman in the world, I'll show you the guy that's tired of blanking her.
Hearing her ass.
But it's like that's human psychology.
But that's also like misguided. I mean, you shouldn't. You go for the right person for you.
Of course, yeah, I know. But I mean, the idea
if you get somebody that you're attracted to that is also a great companion, I mean, you're way better off than somebody that's just got somebody beautiful.
Let's finish up with this one email that was sent to us by Connor. I want to say his full name. Is that frowned upon these days?
Because
this guy's got an awesome name.
But I mean, you can say it.
Connor Cockerham. Right?
That is
That's
awesome.
a badass name.
Yeah.
He says, I have a question for the three of you guys about body hair. How should a gentleman go about manscaping not just your nether regions, but also your back, chest, stomach, underarms, legs, and everything else? I've always been a bigger guy and never really put thought into it. I never had my shirt off, so nobody could see the rug that I have have hidden underneath it. Now I have lost a lot of weight, and I'm trying to look better. Would appreciate the advice, and thank you. Well, congratulations on your weight loss.
Yeah,
Tom.
way to go,
that's
man.
Pretty awesome. I think I know exactly who this is, too. Good dude.
Okay, I don't know much about this, but I'm going to venture to guess.
You're not really
Do you have
hairy,
body
but
hair?
Nah,
well, he
just
dabbled in
nipples.
it last week.
Yeah, I cut my armpit hair off.
Ew.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Not good.
How's it growing?
Everybody was like, "Oh, wait till it grows." Like when my hair,
Not
it's
bad.
so fine,
Yeah.
it's not a coarse, and I got Anyway, I
Low testosterone.
think that
No, his tea is back.
chest
Oh, now he's
hair.
taking it?
No, I'm not taking it.
You need to,
but I've
you need
lost
to
weight
buzz your
again.
nips,
teasing.
though.
I do buzz now. Yeah, I need to.
You need to buzz your nips because your nips are too. They're too. They have long unicorn
Don't want that.
horns.
It seems like chest hair is fine.
Wait, you're talking about the nipple itself or the hairs around it?
Well,
because the unicorn applies like one.
the areola around, like the
Just one really
Okay.
long curly hair.
the part of Tom's nipple that looks like a sprinkle donut has long unicorn hair growing out of it.
chest hair fine, back hair not.
yeah,
right?
back hair
Yeah.
go away.
Yeah.
That's when you get the laser hair
I got
removal.
I got it. It
You
was
did?
awesome. Yeah.
So you had back hair and you did laser removal.
Yes.
How many sessions?
It didn't take much because my particular hair color reacted perfectly with the laser. So I want to say 7 sessions, 8
Nice.
sessions.
I got lucky. I did not have back hair. I think if you've got chest hair, which I do, you need to keep that trimmed up. Right? I don't. I mean,
But like sometimes the guys that are really hairy, they buzz it, and it almost looks like their chest has
Yeah.
like a military flat top.
No,
and that looks uncomfortable to me. It looks
exactly.
prickly.
That is uncomfortable. I've done that by mistake.
And
a few
Juan,
times.
like our buddy Juan, like he might as well be.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I
if
think
you're Juan, you
he
leave
could
it.
run around nude, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because like he's so hairy that he almost has like a hair suit.
When it's even around your whole body, you have to leave it.
I'm kind of jealous of that too. When I see the hair suits, I'm kind of like, that's pretty cool. 'Cause
Also-
some girls are really into that.
If you're an older guy, you're married. There's certain things where like, okay, no need. But I feel like
I don't think you give up ever, man. I think you've all, especially with being married or being with somebody, you gotta. And I've seen it. You can't give up. You can't get complacent. When you get complacent, that's when things can take a U-turn or a left turn that you didn't anticipate. I think you trim. If you got back hair, if you're concerned about the other sex, I don't know that it's preferred. So you.
What about your
remove
leg
that.
hair?
Chest hair you trim, and then your nethers, your private areas, you have to keep trim.
What about your legs?
I've never had to trim legs. I've never heard anybody trimming
I
legs.
think I'm going to shave up half my calf, like I have skin socks.
Well,
on.
you're doing the Peloton now. I mean, my brother is a professional bicyclist. He shaves his legs. He's got
I
to.
don't need
and
to
arms.
though. I'm not
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be wind resistant, going nowhere on a
You
standalone
bought
bike.
in
you know?
so hard. You have the shirt. You're all about it. You should do it.
I am all about
you
it.
shave
But
your whole body,
the
I'll move.
only thing I wear that's cycling endorsed are the shorts. Everything else is like either no shirt, t-shirt. Yeah, I'm not into the. I'm not wearing the cycling suit.
You're not all the lifestyle of bicycling.
I'm not
yet.
doing the bib. No, can't
All
do
right.
it.
And then you get like some of the dudes, you get really Jersey Shore and start shaving your whole body.
Well, that's what Seth does. I think
you're-
Seth-
Well, I get that if you're working out. I mean, and you do, especially if it's
you're set,
competition, you
yeah.
kind of have to.
Yeah.
I shaved
Of course,
this arm, my tattooed arm,
Ah.
because of my sleeve. Because putting on sunscreen, if my hair is all the way out, just becomes like you're constantly rubbing it in.
Also,
And
if
it
you
just
do
gets stuck in your
martial
hairs.
arts, sometimes it's more important to keep trim just because that can get uncomfortable.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's utility, really.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. If
Yeah,
you're-
some athletics just require it.
if you're a guy and your wife doesn't care about the hair on your back and stuff,
Or maybe she
that-
likes it.
or she
That
likes
does
it.
happen.
Some ladies like it.
And if it does, you
then
support.
you leave it,
You
right?
go with what your wife or girlfriend likes.
But I think they would rather.
boyfriend.
Now I can't speak for women,
Or husband.
but I think most women, and Tracy, and there's a few other ladies in the Twitch chat room, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. I think they'd rather you, like in Connor's case, almost leave it so it's soft rather than buzz it. And they're saying prickly guys are gross. Everybody's saying,
Yeah, that's why if you trim, you keep your chest hair trim. It is not prickly. You don't want that. Nobody wants to feel that on their body.
No.
It doesn't feel good for you. It doesn't feel good for the other person. But there's a difference between like having 4-inch long, unicorn nipple hairs and having like them trimmed down to the point where they're not quite prickly, but they're not super long either, and they look presentable.
Tom can beat you in nipple hair.
It's
I don't even know what that means.
He wins.
Okay, you win.
Well, I just know you're really
You can-
competitive.
And in hard nipples.
You could
got
bunch
that
it
too.
up, and then I could hang from a nipple hair.
Could we
from the
hang
roof.
something from it?
Oh, I could
Like
hang my
weights?
whole body.
Wow.
Oh, yeah,
They
yeah.
probably have nipple hair
Well,
weights.
like those people that use
The
the
hooks,
hooks
yeah,
in
yeah,
their
yeah.
back.
You could,
the dad version is a dad hanging from his nipple hairs.
I mean, I'll have to scream as soon as you lift me up off my tippy toes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
then I pull the plunger, the blood orgy starts. You're hanging from the ceiling.
the problem is they
Bunch of
rip
goths,
out.
German goths are
The hair rips out all at once, and you lose part of that skin. That's no good.
They got the
Oh, yeah.
goggles on their hair and the white boy dreadlocks, and they're dancing to German techno underneath you. There's Tom. He's up there. Is
When
that man really hanging from his nipples?
When we played CBGBs, we played with this weird German band that is so German, it's unbelievable because it was exactly that. It was like German weird techno music, but kind of like the name of them, I think it was Hippie House, but spelled like house like German. So it was kind of house music mixed with hippie. It was really odd.
did they have a weird stage show?
No, I mean, there was definitely like, if you imagine German mixed with techno house music mixed with hippies, that it was kind of, did really capture that essence, which is a really odd mix.
Are you looking it up, Daniel?
I was trying to find just some good
Hippie house.
German techno.
It's a...
Guten Abend, meine sehr geehrten Damen und Herren.
Yeah, this is what you're hanging from your nipples.
Ich spreche jetzt mit Damen.
Come
Und the
on.
nipple hair.
Here we go.
Here comes Tom. Hang the nipple hair.
So you're hanging from the top, right?
Und start.
That's kind of scary, right? Yeah, I don't think I need to hear that.
And we were just getting started, gentlemen.
That's a little scary. That's a little scary.
Let's end the show while Kramer's doing his German impressions.
In the show as a German man, Kramer.
And now we've talked enough for today, so now we'll end the show. Everyone, it's been a fun time. So fun.
When Daniel asks me to do something goofy, I always say no.
Kramer goes all right.
No, you should say no. Always say no.
He's
Never
like,
it's a trap.
It's so good.
It's a trap.
Fabulistique.
All right.
You like the music?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we have a party afterwards. It's so crazy.
OneFirmForLife.com.
Hey, we saw-
OneFirmForLife.com.
We saw Ray Chenley yesterday.
I heard.
He was looking really friendly.
Can you do any accent? What if you went to trial and you did the accent and the judge knew you weren't German? Would they
Do you know
get
when
mad?
I was a kid,
Is that contempt?
my mom would yell at me because she'd be like, "You're going to get stuck with that accent. Plug in whatever
you were
word
the
you
nerd
want."
kid, right?
Yeah.
You had your pants under your nipples, glasses on.
I
doing
told
the-
you in middle school, straight up,
Frank,
as
he's
nerdy as
doing
it
the
gets.
thing again.
Yeah.
It is me, Steven Kramer. I'm eating Toblerone.
No, I
eat all
would
the
get stuck.
chocolates.
I could get stuck in a Russian accent.
He's doing the thing.
He's doing the Russian again. Check him out.
Or British, or Southern, or Australian.
OneFirmForLife.com.
Yep, for all your Russian, German.
For all your accent needs.
yeah, for all your, yeah, there you go. I think we did a lot of good here today. Anything else, fellas?
That's it.
Guys, we'll see you next week.
Word.